I think
That's
so.
what Wendy told me. Okay, it's shown on the plan.
Are you ready? All right. I'd like to welcome everybody out to our city council meeting for Wednesday, January 23rd. This hopefully should go rather smoothly today. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. It'll be offered to us by Easton Ferguson from Scout Troop 624. So if you'll come up to the podium, please.
I think what I showed.
For the audience, please rise and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may sit.
Thank you, and thank you for participating in our meeting. We always appreciate the youth organizations that come out and participate with us. Are there any items for conflict of interest to be disclosed tonight by the council?
No.
Okay. Any comments or recognitions by members of the council? No. Okay. We'll move on to our public comment. Before I start the public comment, I do just want to make note that we do have a public hearing later for the proposed budget amendment. Please be aware that on our budget amendment, we won't actually be taking any action tonight. We intend to continue that item moving forward and then continue that public hearing as well to allow people to speak once the updated resolution has been provided to the public. So just be aware of that. If you'd like to speak to that particular item, you're still welcome to speak to that item tonight. We'll give you that opportunity, and we do have time for that later. With our public comment, audience members may bring any item to the mayor and council's attention. Comments will be limited to 2 minutes. State law does prohibit the council from acting on items that do not appear on the agenda, so please be aware of that. And just for the public's knowledge, we do have Councilman Smith is attending electronically today, so he can hear what is going on, and if need be, can participate as well. So if you have any comment that you would like to make at this time, please come up to the podium.
Steve Garrett, 5443 West Genoa Court, Herriman, Utah. I'm here for 2 reasons. First, I wanted to commend the council for their recent handling of a difficult situation. The council acted very appropriately and very professionally, given the tough nature of what they had to deal with. Also, in particular, Finance Manager Alan Ray did an excellent job as well. The other thing I'd like to ask the councils to look at something else difficult, and that is the management of our city. And I would like you to do so by asking yourself the following questions. Is it okay that we have tumbleweeds blowing around in town center with nothing substantially built that was envisioned in the development? Is it okay that we were told that building City Hall would mean that commercial would come to this development? Is it okay that so few residents would have supported the current levels of high-density housing if they knew it was coming and what it would look like? Is it okay that having all this high-density housing has not produced the commercial that was promised? The way I look at it is the city has failed at what it told us it had to have. It told us we had to have this high density to get the commercial. Well, it hasn't happened. And so the people that are in the top 2 positions have been there essentially since the city was founded. And I have to ask, when the city was 1,100 people, were those people just so happen to be the right people to be in that position now? I'd say unlikely. So what I would ask the city to do is open up these positions and take applications for them, and let the people in those positions apply for them and take the best person to run our city. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, seeing no further comment, we'll close the public comment portion of our meeting. We will move on to council board and committee reports. Are there any reports at this time?
I don't have any right now.
Okay. We will move on to item 8.1, Herriman Police Department promotion and badge presentation. Chief Carr.
Mayor and Council, thank you for sharing with me in the honor of the Herriman Police Department's first promotion after starting. This evening, Detective Brent Adamson, or as many of you may know him, BA, will be promoted to the rank of Sergeant. Sergeant Adamson is a 29-year veteran of law enforcement and is a regional authority in violent crime investigations, arguably the best. BA will continue to serve in the Investigations Division, overseeing persons crimes, property crimes, directed enforcement, narcotics, community-involved policing, and task forces. The rank of sergeant is the most important rank in policing today. It is denoted by the 3 stripes you see on the sergeant's arm. Large and recognizable, they are intended to be easily visible to those, often bringing a certain calm to tense situations. These stripes are commonly known as chevrons. They appear as the rafter of the roof of a house, powerfully supporting the structure and providing safety for those beneath. By way of history, the chevron was employed as a badge of honor to mark the main supporters of the head of a group or the top of the house. This thus signifying rank throughout history in many cultures. The origin of the word sergeant is Latin, servens, or the one who serves. This could not be more fitting for what a sergeant must truly embody. The intense desire to serve the men and women under their command, responsible for each officer's actions and safety, often honored for their successes, and always held accountable for their errors. The rank of sergeant is an honor, service, and sacrifice. You are the first to enter battle and the last to eat. Part of our tradition now is to turn the time over to the Deputy Chief, who will give you a little background on our tradition as we present a badge and why we do that. And I'll go grab that badge while we do that.
So like the Chief said, the law enforcement community is very deep in its traditions, and one such is the pinning of a badge. This tradition occurs only 2 times. One is when an officer is hired, the second is when the officer is promoted. The pinning signifies a bestowing of trust and respect. It's a public symbol representing some degree of authority in society, but more importantly, representing a large degree of responsibility and duty. During the first pinning, right after an officer graduates the academy, it signifies the individual has accepted the responsibility and duty to protect and care for the citizens. But in the promotional pinning, the individual is now taking on the added responsibility and duty to protect and care for the other officers in his charge. It is a much more profound burden because the police leader is now affirming his duty to make sure his team has the tools, knowledge, and ability to serve the citizens well, but most importantly, to do everything in his power to ensure his teammates go home to their own families at the end of each shift. The reason that we have a family member, and Sergeant Adamson has a few here today, the reason that we have family members here to pin a badge on their beloved one is because this duty, responsibility, and burden is not accepted by the officer alone. It's shared by the officer's spouses, children, and parents. Having a family member pin on the badge signifies this family's agreement to literally share their loved one with society. It's this family's acknowledgement that they too are ready and willing to share the joy and sadness, the long and sometimes dangerous days and nights, and the highs and lows to come with being one of the few that make up the thin blue line. So Pam, Mallory, Sam, and Mom, please come up here. That's right.
Come right on up here. Congratulations, Sergeant Adamson. Again, we all call him BA. If you would, please.
Got some peroxide if you miss, Pam.
By the way.
to have a picture taken with the newly promoted sergeant?
As long as they're not available.
Yeah, I'm in the way. Nope, this is So I'm going to go off script for just a second as Tammy Moody probably looks at me in terror. I read my piece, but I would like to offer a little bit of personal observance of BA, and some of the citizens might have seen it as well. So I'm going to take just a minute. If you'd like to come up here and stand with me, I'd sure be proud. Well, I don't know if, yeah, like might not be the word. Brent's a special kind of guy, and you don't get that often in law enforcement. You might have seen him walking to and from work. So he lives in our community, and community is an important thing to us, and it's an important thing to Brent. I asked him one day, why do you walk back and forth? And he goes, well, that's part of policing in the neighborhood. If I'm out on my feet walking around, I'm going to see different things, and I'm going to interact with different people. So he literally picks a different trail to walk to work every day. He puts his backpack on and this big yellow coat, and he's been affectionately termed Big Bird. Is that okay if I say? That's never going to go away now. And he walks our community and walks our trails both to and from work. So that's just one of the many observances of BA. Beyond that, always willing to help, always willing to drop everything to go and stand in for patrol, like today. Went out and handled patrol calls. We were a little backed up, and he jumped right on that, went out and handled it. So just a little personal observance of Brent, and again, if you need to look up to somebody to be proud of, this is the guy, your dad. Thanks.
On behalf of the council, we express our gratitude and our appreciation for not only your services, but services of all the officers in our department, and the wonderful thing that you have helped create here in helping create our community, and we're extremely grateful. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. Okay. All right. We will move on to item 9.1, public hearing and consideration of a resolution amending the 2018-2019 Herriman City budget.
As we prepared this budget amendment, we had two items on it. It was a corridor preservation grant that we got where we were budgeting the revenue in and the expenses out. However, in the month since we presented this, several things have come up that we need to adjust this amendment. So the budget amendment is noticed for tonight, so our public is free to speak to it tonight, but it will be continued, and only decision will be made at the next meeting. So, but as currently presented to the public, there's $1.4 million in revenue and expenditures related to the corridor preservation money.
All right. At this time, we will open the public hearing. If you have any items that you'd like to just bring up regarding this specific item, please feel free to come up. Once again, we will be continuing this item and holding this public hearing open so that you will have an opportunity in the future once the additional information is provided to the public to speak to this as well. All right, seeing no comment, I'll accept a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing to that one?
Yep.
To the February 13th, 2019 City Council meeting.
Second.
Okay. Councilman Smith?
Aye.
Councilwoman Orn?
Yes.
Councilman Henderson?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. That motion passes. All right. We'll move on to our consent agenda item.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll motion.
Oh, go ahead, Clint.
I was just going to say, I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Okay.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Councilman Henderson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Orn?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
And I will vote no. That motion passes. All right. Our next meeting is a joint City Council Planning Commission meeting on January 30th. The next Planning Commission meeting is February 7th, and the next City Council meeting is February 13th. And with that, I will accept a motion to return to our work meeting.
I'll make a motion to return to our work meeting.
I always screw it up. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That motion passes. Thank you very much.
I'm just going to note the time, 7:23. That's the record to beat next time, everybody.
That's the fastest we have ever done a city council meeting.
Yeah, we're gonna make up for it now.
Yeah. Hey, you guys all get a lead. I'm good there.
Scout leaders don't know what to do now.
If he's still making the same thing.
Alan, no one says no to you at this. So, yes, whatever you want.
To locate the trail.
Well, you already approved this trail. That's the trail.
Give me a copy of it and I'll finish doing
Try
the rest
that.
of the
Yeah, try
homework
that.
and read it. Like I said, it's dissertation.
Start reading those things. You say,
I'm
what?
not kidding you. Like, this is
The text that's over
voice memos.
20 lines.
That's from him. And that one's from him. Hey, no, I'm not hearing from anybody. Yeah, I told you to be patient. And this is the bottom of the list for anybody, even me.
Yeah.
I told you 2 weeks ago, be patient. After the last
Oh, if
meeting,
Eminem should
I'm
be
like this, if we're gonna do anything, it's not gonna be at the next meeting.
Yeah. I'll make a copy of this for you.
What's your day looking like tomorrow? In the morning?
Okay, I got everybody on there. Did I get Nicole Martin? I need to email Martin.